Hi. Welcome back to more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy Trials and Tribulations. We're on the last case of the trilogy, the original trilogy, Bridge to the Turnabout. Last time, we took over as Miles Edgeworth. A little bit of our first taste of Edgeworth POV. And he is taking on the defense for Iris in Phoenix's stead, as Phoenix is still in the hospital with a very bad fever. Goto is supposed to be prosecuting, but he has not shown up, and besides, it would not work well if he was the prosecutor, so Edgeworth has arranged something. Pearl is missing as well. Maya is still trapped on the other side of the canyon. We still don't really know what Iris's deal is, but she does seem to have known Phoenix. The investigation was extremely queer-coded, and Larry is going to be a witness again as well. So there's all sorts of fun things happening. I'm apologizing in advance. My nose is a little silly because I cried for a fan fiction. Let's go. This fic, I will say, if you have not finished Dual Destinies, you should not read it until you have, because it does have spoilers and I think things that will be less impactful because of that, but it is so good. Let me look up the name of it really fast. It's called Broken Systems Bending People by Estelraka. I don't even know if this person still writes fics, but this is from... Oh, they do! Oh my god. They write for One Piece, they write for Star Trek. That's so fun. I wonder what the last Ace Attorney fic they wrote was. Anyway, hi Nem. Anyway, oh, they're writing... Oh, let's go. They're writing Homumiko. Let's fucking go. This is a fic from 2015, if memory serves. Yeah, 2015. It goes hard. I cried really hard over Apollos. It's basically like everyone goes to therapy. Almost everyone. And I cried, like, really hard over Apollo's part because I just resonated with it a lot. Like, it's things my therapist has said to me, and I just, like, I was already having kind of a day anyway. Which Star Trek, Spurk, at least at a glance, that's what I saw. Anyway, let's get into this, shall we? I just wanted to recommend that fic. It is amazing. Lord knows I will be shoving it down Danny and Megan's throats once they finish Dual Destinies, but Nem, you should read it. It's very good. Schwindu actually recommended it to me.
Oh my! Mr. Loris feels that way about me?
Apparently. He isn't aware of your real secret at all. This is no time to be embarrassed! What was the name again? Broken Systems Bending People? I think is what it's called.
I'm sorry! I'm just hardly accustomed to that sort of thing.
Were we not? And in any case, whatever it was that he saw on the night of the incident, mark my words, I will drag it out of him.
Does that mean Mr. Loris is the witness today?
No. I believe that none will be the first to take the stand.
Sister Bikini.
She claims to have seen the very instant in which you carried out the crime. I just want to ask you one last time. It really wasn't you who killed Miss Elise Donim, correct?
That is correct. It wasn't me.
Very well then.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes?
You are a prosecutor, aren't you? Are you sure about this? If your true identity is revealed...
Don't worry. I've made the necessary arrangements. Yeah, literally almost everybody, except Francisca and, like, one other person that I was like, this person should also probably go to therapy. I forget who it was. Anyway. Oh, Pearl. Yeah.
I see.
And Trucy doesn't. Iris. It is a prosecutor's job to doubt people. But right now, I am a defense attorney. A defense attorney's job is to believe in people. And to believe until the bitter end. That's what my friend told me once.
Mr. Edgeworth.
I simply ask that you watch and decide for yourself whether or not I am fit to do the task I have been entrusted. He takes this request so seriously, guys. Like, I'm not even talking about, like, shipping. I'm talking about, like, Edgeworth being designated a task and then being like, this is not what I normally do. But because I trust this person who asked me so explicitly and implicitly, I will be doing it to my utmost. It is such a interesting, like, character thing.
Very well, sir. I leave my defense in your capable hands.
Oh, Hoser. Okay, out here for a double-double. Court is now in session for the trial of Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple. That's so weird. That's so weird that he's on that side. He has the badge on. Ah! It's fine. That's basically home run. Sorry. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Oh. The defense does indeed appear to be ready. However, the same cannot be said for the prosecution in this case. Indeed. I'm not sure I like such a blatant waste of this court's time. An empty prosecutor's chair can only mean that the prosecutor has no confidence in their ability to prove their case. It would seem this case is already over before it had a chance to begin. I am ready to announce my verdict at this time. This court finds the defendant. Objection! Yeah! The prosecution stands ready. And you are? Franziska von Karma, prosecuting prodigy. Von Karma, you say? Perchance you wouldn't be of any relation to the legendary prosecutor Manfred von Karma. Legends are a thing of the past. I am a von Karma. That is all. Upon a special request, I flew in today for the purposes of prosecuting this case. You did? Then you must be quite the big shot, eh? By the way, Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. I'm almost certain that I've seen you somewhere before. Or am I just imagining things? You look very much like a prosecutor I met once. I believe you are imagining things, Your Honor. Sibling on sibling violence! I want to know the phone call he made to Franziska so bad, guys. I want that more than the hospital scene. I really do. What was the conversation? I need that. I need it. Ms. Von Karma, do you have anything to say? There is no such weakling as this man among those of the prosecutor's office. There isn't. But I'm sure once before in this courtroom... I told you, there is no such weakling. What is that? A whip? Well, I'm not sure I care for such a thing in my courtroom. Bailiff, remove that whip at... I have no objection to the whip. Edgeworth out of context moment. You don't. The prosecution can wield a whip or drink 17 cups of coffee. But there is still only one truth. That is what I stand to here to prove today. This promises to be interesting, Miles Edgeworth. I'd expected to face Phoenix Wright here today. But looking at you now,
Maybe this is what I've been waiting for all this time.
The screenshot sound. Yeah, I forgot it made a sound, to be honest.
Miles Edgeworth, I will not allow this chance to crush you slip through my fingers.
I see you brought your flair for the histrionic. Histrionic is such a word. Hang on, sorry, I'm like... Okay. Allow me to add things I'm not sure about. People acting bizarrely in my court.
Ugh! The stage is set. Now, continue with the proceedings, Your Honor.
Very well. Ms. Von Karma, please give an outline of the case. With as little whipping as possible.
The murder victim is the famed picture book author, Ms. Elise Donim. Her body was found in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. She had been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue.
The sword in this picture is the weapon in question, correct? Very well. The court accepts this photo of the crime scene. Okay, I want to look at that again later.
There is no mistake. This was the doing of Sister Iris. After all, there is a witness to her crime.
Very well. Please bring this witness to the stand. Oh, excuse me, sorry. And so it begins. My first and last trial as a defense attorney. Yeah. I forgot about that completely. Bikini, I'm so sorry.
Witness.
Let me try that again. My voice cracked to something fierce.
Witness. State your name and occupation, please.
Hold on here. I'm not sure about being sure if I care for this little... This bit is so weird. Witness, please stand up nice and straight. She's surreal. If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates in the defendant's lobby for a back pain-plagued witness. Bailiff, fetch a crate for this poor lady, please. She's got that scoliosis.
Once again, your name and occupation, please.
Oh, little old me, well, I'm the head nun of Hazakura Temple on Eagle Mountain. My name is Bikini. You got it, Bikini. Nice to meet everyone. But you don't appear to be wearing a bikini right now.
Oh! The courtroom is the garden of holy judgment. Those with lechery in their hearts should leave this sanctuary at once.
Franziska Von Karma, woman protector, is back. You want me to leave? No need to get your bikinis in a twist. Let me tell you, I'm a sight to behold in summer. In any case, witness, I hear that you saw the crime take place on the night in question. That's right. I can still hardly believe it myself, to be honest. There's no way dear little Iris could do anything like that. Let us hear what you have to say, then. First, tell us about your own movements that night, eh? That night, I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple. But, well, as you can see, my back likes to act up violently. So I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see, and I needed a long, hot soak. It was after I had finished, just as I was heading back. That's when I saw it. Oops. I gotta go pick up my... Actually, you know what? I think it's fine. Never mind. My trash bag fell over. But it's fine. So it was simply coincidence that you found yourself returning to Hazakura Temple? Yes, you could say that. If my back hadn't been in so much pain, I would have stayed at the inner temple. That sounds like a pretty important statement she just made.
There is only one problem with this testimony that I can see. And you're not about to fall at the first hurdle. Now are you, Miles Edgeworth?
Mr. Edgeworth, please begin your cross-examination. These are like 4 of the easiest voices I could be doing right now. I'm so happy. None of them have fry. None of them have any fry. We love it. Okay. Let me look at this. Okay, she has no snow on her. That's important to note. Do we have a picture of the courtyard before this happened? Because I'm pretty sure, wasn't that... Wasn't that statue sword upright before? Maybe it doesn't matter, though. Anyway. What is this inner temple? Well, see, conversing with the spirits is what we train people to do, right? We'll be the ones asking you the questions, madam. In order to do that, a place strong in spiritual power is required. There's a small temple across Dusky Bridge called the Inner Temple. Acolytes must spend an entire night there to undergo intense training. And how exactly do you help with this process? It is all quite exacting. It can't be performed without a nun supervising. Like a tutor, watching to make sure a spoiled child studies. A tutor with a whip in your case. If that is the case, then why did you return to Hazakura Temple where the murder took place? It's so fun to hear Edgeworth, like... It's so... So, Edgeworth's voice actor in this was the French localizer. I believe this guy was from Canada, so he's probably from Quebec, Montreal, like that area. Or like Quebec City, or probably provincially Quebec. And because of that, he has the, like, slight European, like, he doesn't say, hold it, with, like, the more American T. He has the hold it, with, like, it's hard to do, like, t, versus t. Do you hear the difference? Like, he has the softer, like, behind the top teeth up here, like, the Japanese ta 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 ta, or the Italian ta. Like, that's the more European sounding. So because of that, because he's a French speaker, and because he, like, it, especially when he says, take that, you'll hear it really well, and it's so good. Anyway. Violently? That's right! It's no laughing matter, especially in winter! I can't hold anything heavier than a knife and fork during the cold months! Also, hold on, I just want to see. Okay. Just being alive is like strict training. On the night of the murder, was this fabulous back of yours hurting again? That's right! Raging like a bull in a pig pen. I almost fainted once or twice. I just knew that unless I warmed it up, it was going to finally finish me off. You left Iris to help. With what? What do you think? The Acolyte's training, of course. It was just past 10 p.m., so we were starting to enter into the training exercises proper. Wasn't it your place to remain with the disciple? Well, the job is simply to watch over the Acolytes so that they don't pass away. Just to confirm this point again, that night, you met Iris in the Inner Temple, correct? Yes, yes, she's a gentle, honest girl. She's never once failed to follow my directions. So you returned to Hazakura Temple in order to take a bath. My back is to blame for everything. It's a do-or-be-done-in kind of world, after all. Turiel, how long were you in the bath for, if you don't mind me asking? My, what a filthy little rogue you are! I know what's on your mind! What? Asexual! A romantic asexual, I found him. I bet your next question is going to be, where exactly did you wash? This is why you have to watch the young ones. What are you going on about? I was... Pathetic, Miles Edgeworth. The lowest of the low. Is there some sort of kick-me sign stuck to the defense's bench? Anyway, I couldn't afford to be away from my post for too long, you understand, so... The crime took place in the courtyard, correct? When you go from my room to the main hall, you have to take a winding hallway from which you can see the courtyard.
That's right. In other words, it was pure coincidence that the witness saw the crime taking place before her eyes.
No memory of that. Yeah, me neither.
There was no complicated setup in this case.
That certainly seems to be true. There is indeed only one problem with this testimony. If I can clearly point out what it is, then I can begin to quantify just how good this witness's memory and observation skills are. I think I know. Because she didn't go because she was afraid. Oh, it's so weird not hearing Phoenix. That's so strange. Witnesses have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. The defendant's fate rests on their powers of observation and memory, after all. Well, well, well! Don't worry, I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all. The head honcho of Hazakura Temple. In that case, Miss Honcho, I'd like you to explain something for me. The discrepancy between your testimony and that of the defendant, Iris. She claims that after ringing the lights out bell, she went back and stayed in her room. Which means she did not go to the inner temple at all. No! She said that.
A defendant or witness? Who is more likely to lie, do you suppose? The defendant is simply lying to cover her back.
But that is completely illogical. The murder was committed in the courtyard of Hazakura Temple. Claiming that she went to the inner temple would make for a much better alibi.
But that is odd. Whatever the reason, I can't believe that she would lie.
She does indeed have honest eyes.
All people lie. That is my belief.
Why am I the only one being whipped in here? Anyway, neither the witness nor the defendant have any reason to lie. Which means we must call your memory into question.
Dear, dear, dear. You're older than me, and yet you want to play that game, do you?
Well, that isn't exactly what I...
My memory is perfect. Crystal clear, especially in winter.
Crystal clear was hard for me to say. I was stumbling. Then I suppose it's too early to end this cross-examination, eh? Mr. Edgeworth, if you are going to question the memory of this witness, you will need to show me a more decisive piece of evidence. Understood, Your Honor. I was naive to think that that alone would do the trick. Then please add your comments about I wish they didn't write it as about, because then I don't clock it as about, and then to say it in like the accent. About Iris to the testimony, and let us return to the cross-examination. That night I was okay. Well, as you can say, I was concerned she's just exactly as she had been at dinner. Are you sure that you're not making a mistake?
You, young man, you need to get your estimation of me up from the floor. Iris always wears the same clothes. The smallest thing out of place would have stood out like a sore thumb to me. You're making a mistake, thinking I made a mistake.
An excellent finish there, witness. Still, I have to wonder. Okay, so nothing else changed about your testimony, yeah? Nothing else changed, eh? Okay. Well, she would have been missing her hood, because she gave that to Phoenix. To that man. Witness, let's get one thing straight. The defendant whom you claim to have met is not. What has happened? Hi, partial bullet. Just the beginning of the cross-examination. I really do love the headcanon of Compet Iris. Whoever came up with that headcanon has my heart. The founder of Compet Iris. Love you. Anyway. The defendant who you have claimed to have met. She was wearing this demon-warding hood, correct? Of course! That is a very important piece of clothing, I'll have you know. Wait a minute. Hold it right there. Why do you have that?
A present? That's the question of the day now, isn't it, Ms. Von Karma?
I bet she hates when he calls her that. Even more than, like, just Francisca or, like, anything else. I bet she hates that.
I'll have you know that this hood was given to someone as a gift that night, before the lights out bell was rung.
Oh, what?
You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant as she claims, then the iris she saw should have been missing this very hood.
Well. It's fine.
It's not a bad feeling at all, exposing contradictions like this. Now I understand that happy look on Wright's face every time he does it.
He's having fun. Order in the court. Wah! Sister, this hood. You have spare ones around the temple, don't you?
Spares?
Well, I do tend to make too many of them.
I see. A stockpile. A surplus of hoods, eh?
Each nun is only given one hood. This should be the only hood that Iris owned.
Then this is quite strange.
Wah! If there was a wait. Sorry, I got distracted reading your comment. What was my first impression of Francisca? I liked her immediately. I was like, oh, I love a bitch. I love a stone cold bitch. And then I was like, she has issues. And then it was revealed to me she not only has issues, she has like younger sister issues. Relatable. If there was a surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There is no contradiction here.
I'm sorry to break this to you, Ms. Von Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human heart. The seeds of doubt. Witness, while I don't wish to call your testimony into doubt, you must give every detail with precision.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this. Sister, you shall continue with your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your bath, on your way back to the inner temple.
Those seeds of doubt are sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit.
Why do you have to say it like that? Why do you have to say it like that?
Contradictory stimulation.
Be normal. I'm begging. I know that's asking a lot in an Ace Attorney game. I finished my bath around 11, and I thought I should return to the inner temple. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look, and Iris was... Oh my, Mystic Elise! With that sword of all things! Mystic Elise was staying in the corner room, which faces out onto the courtyard. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window. Okay, well, I know what there's wrong. There's wrong. I know what there's wrong with. You saw a terribly, terribly true sight. Or a truly terrible sight, didn't you? Listen, I didn't fall asleep till probably midnight. If I was in your place, then it would be much like Ms. Von Karma whipping Mr. Edgeworth into two in court. And me seeing it all from this very chair. Well, something like that. This judge. His imagination is about as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe. I would look the fool if I commented on such foolishness. Anyway, this case is mine, Miles Edgeworth.
Calling everyone by their full name. Can't you do something about that habit of yours?
The guy who called Phoenix Wright only Phoenix Wright for like the first 3 cases of the first game. Loser, loser, loser.
How far is it from your room to the inner temple?
Let me think a moment. About 20 minutes on these stumps of mine. It's about 15 minutes to Dusky Bridge from Hazakura Temple. The inner temple is just beyond the bridge. Still, you never made it back there that night, did you? That's right. I was heading along the walkway toward the main hall.
You say that you heard a noise.
Thump, just like that. That could only be the sound of the victim falling. It's very quiet in the temple, you know. You can even hear the snow falling from the branches. Thump, just like that. But then, couldn't this noise you have heard have been snow falling to the ground? I never thought of that. The next one to laugh gets a whipping. Now he just refers to Phoenix as that man in his inner monologues. He did say right earlier. I was very proud of him. Well, whatever the source of the sound, I looked over at the courtyard and...
This is the second time that the witness has testified to seeing the defendant. But some doubt remains in these claims.
Hey, just what does that mean? Just because you're a good-looking young man doesn't give you the right to...
The murderer who stabbed the victim with the sword, Sister Bikini, try to recall exactly who it was you saw, as clearly as you can.
Well, you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. Oh! Now that you mention it, there was something awfully strange about her. Something that has been bugging me all this time.
Please, don't keep us in suspense.
Her hood! Her hood? That's right! It's coming back to me! Iris! She wasn't wearing her hood! So this was definitely Iris then. I thought something was out of place, but it all makes sense now, doesn't it? After all, she'd given that hood away to someone, right? Grumble the goo from the defense bench, but his eyes aren't twitching. I'm noticing. Oh wait, are they? They aren't. Huh. You've dug your own grave, Miles Edgeworth. What do you say, Mr. Edgeworth? Is this testimony important? I mean, it is, even though it's disadvantageous for us. Okay, hold on. Because I already know what I'm gonna prove wrong in this testimony, because she said that she had to have been stabbed after she fell, but we have the autopsy report that says otherwise, so that's what I was gonna prove wrong. So maybe we can just say it's important and hope that there are no consequences.
This may initially appear to put me at a disadvantage, but I can't see any other leads at the moment. Your Honor, I would like these new statements to be added to the testimony.
Miles Edgeworth, if you want to hang yourself, you need only ask. I'll gladly lend you my whip. This is wretched. She said go fucking kill yourself.
Yo, your 19-year-old little sister. There is an animosity though, like, so Phoenix and Edgeworth are the same age, right? So that means there's a 7-year difference between him and Francisca. That is the same age difference Chris and I had. And I will say, there is a very specific kind of animosity that can crop up between siblings of this age gap. Like, I'm not as mean as Francisca, but I was definitely mean at points. I never told my brother to go kill himself, though. Witness, add that statement to your testimony. No problem. Me and my oldest brother did accidentally push him down a flight of stairs, though. You are sure about that?
Yes, after all, we always wear the same clothes. I don't mean because we're poor, you understand? It's our style. Yes, that's it.
There's absolutely no need to explain yourself.
Anyway, she looked different from normal, so that really stuck out. Like me holding a whippet puppy instead of my whip. Let her have a dog. Let her have a shaky little dog. Please, please, please.
At least then it might bite you and not someone else.
Iris didn't have her hood on. I'm sure. Sorry for that pause. I was thinking about her having an Italian Greyhound like Kermit, like Jenna Marbles' Kermit. Kermit? I love you, but you test me every day, boy! Is such a Francisca Von Karma thing to say to a dog. Very well. Now please tell us about the victim, eh? About the victim. The room the victim was staying in overlooked the courtyard, correct? Which means the victim's room was on the second floor? No, Hasakura Temple is a single-story building, but the mountain itself slopes downward, which elevates the main gate side of the temple and the guest rooms in the back to about the height of a 2-story building. I see. And the victim was staying in one of these elevated rooms, correct? Yes, I should know. I'm the one who carried her things to her room after all. Incorrect. What makes you so sure of all this? It's just like I told you earlier. I heard a noise from the courtyard. Okay? Thump. Just like that. You're one smart sister. I'll give you that. Autopsy report states that the victim's body was covered in bruises, indicating a fall from around 10 feet in height. It appears that the witness was not mistaken then. Yep, I'm more than just a pretty face, especially in winter. I'm a woman of faith after all, the head honcho of Hazakura Temple. There's only 2 of them working there. What's wrong, Miles Edgeworth? No snappy comeback remark? It doesn't feel like she's lying. This is very powerful testimony, too. She claims to have seen the instant in which the defendant stabbed the victim. There are only 2 things I can believe in right now. My client, Iris, and my own abilities as a defense attorney. Of which we have none. I really do wish that he had been allowed a weird girl here. I wish that, like, Emma had come back, or, like, Pearl was around. I think that would have been really fun. Anyway. Okay. Autopsy report says you're wrong.
Impressive logic. That's what I'd like to say, anyway.
Oh, please do! My brain is something else, especially in winter.
However, I think you are overlooking one thing. Ms. Von Karma, would you please be so kind as to take another look at the autopsy? I made him say please, for no reason. Would you be so kind as to take another look at the autopsy report?
The autopsy report?
The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed.
Ah! That's right, it says after death right here.
The scene the witness claims to have seen is contradictory. If the defendant stabbed and killed the victim there in the courtyard, how did the victim then go on to take a 10-foot fall?
Ah!
Order! The victim was killed and then fell. If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed in her room. Don't you agree?
That is the logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her own room. And then she was thrown out of her window down below into the courtyard. I mixed up the order of those words, but it sounded better like this.
Were there any signs of a struggle in Miss Donim's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would at least leave a blood stain. Wouldn't you agree? I keep adding words. I'm sorry, I'm very tired. I will not be doing this full trial today. Well, Ms. Von Karma, was there any blood?
What? No traces of blood were found in the victim's room.
Your whip has just caused traces of blood to be found on my glorious playoff beard. However, if there was no blood in the room, then you claim...
I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure your honor is well aware of when a stab wound produces the most blood. I said this earlier, right?
when it produces the most blood.
Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed.
Indeed. With the weapon still in place, it acts like a lid on the wound. That's true. With the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. A perfectly reasonable line of thinking.
I know. We have come to a conclusion then. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. This removes all of the contradictions.
Does it? Order! 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 I must admit that this is a probable version of events. Well, hold on just a second here.
I totally meant to get Orajel. I should have gotten some today, when I was at the grocery store. I'll get some tomorrow. Because, like, the side of one of my molars in the back is very sharp sometimes, and I have cut the side of my tongue on my teeth from pressing my tongue against it from stress. And that's also part of the reason I can't read things correctly, to be honest. It's very distracting.
I'd expect no less from Franziska von Karma. She locates and takes control of every vital point. It seems that we need a clear testimony from the witness. Remove all supposition on your part and tell us only the facts, please. Witness, please, remain standing on the crate. Don't go selling me short now. The weight of the winter snow has bent me out of shape, especially my back and my mood.
Sister, please give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we are finished here.
What am I to say? What am I to say? That girl's not straight. This girl, she's not interested in men. She's coming into her own. Fran Meyer writes. You can't see it, but I'm pointing directly at Franziska's face. No homo. Unfortunately, a lesbian runs this stream, so in fact, yes, homo. The most homo I can insert, in fact. With the whip. I didn't remember this. Oh boy. Alright, alright. It's like, the Fae clan focus. Can I say something? Can I say something, guys? I'm gonna say something maybe a little controversial. The Fae family, or the Fae clan, the Krain channeling technique being especially strong amongst women, feels like an allegory for going to an all-Catholic, or an all-girls Catholic boarding school. Where it's like, under the premise of being this very religious, like, upright place, but everyone there, like 90% of the people there are queer. They're either bi or lesbian or pan or something, you know. Am I wrong? Am I allowed to say that? Anyway. When I looked across at the scene, the sword was already in place. Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Mystic Elise. I've never seen so much blood before. That's when I fainted. You can't blame me, can you? You ship Francisco with Phoenix? Interesting. Okay, that's a new one. And when I awoke, Mystic Ami was stabbing Mystic Elise through the back. This all confirms Ms. Von Karma's theory. Von Karma strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together such facts is nothing for me. You should know that, Miles Edgeworth. Perfection is an impossibility, Franziska Von Karma. and I'm here to teach you just that. At that time, was the victim bleeding?
Well, I was very shocked to be seeing all of this, of course. So I'm not entirely sure. But I don't think I saw any blood. Not then. Was there the picture? Okay, no, it doesn't matter. Never mind. I'm sure that you didn't. The weapon was acting as a plug in the wound.
In any case, let's be clear on one very important point. Did you actually see the instant in which the victim was stabbed?
This would also be an attack on Edgeworth, as she is marrying his closest friend. It would be a betrayal of trust on the two. Yeah, that's why I'm not particularly interested. Like, I can see why that would be compelling in some cases, just not with this group of characters. I think, like, a love triangle has to, like, love triangles can be compelling, but they have to be written right. And it's very hard to do.
Think carefully. This is very important.
It's Iris we are talking about here. I'm thinking, for all I'm worth. No, when I looked over, the sword was already in Mystic Elise's body.
Might not be conclusive, but this testimony supports her theory.
The victim was stabbed into a room and then dropped into the courtyard. I think this proves it rather well, Miles Edgeworth.
So you're saying that you saw the victim's blood?
That's right! Some of it had splattered onto Iris, too. When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in her room. And her blood-flecked clothing was neatly... I didn't mean to make her British, I'm so sorry. And her blood-flecked clothing was neatly folded in the corner.
What? Her clothes were blood-flecked as well?
I mean, we already determined this has to be Iris here. Because there was no hood, right?
That seems quite conclusive to me. What should I do? Press this point further.
Let's press further, just for dialogue.
Going back to your previous statement, you said that you saw a little bleeding when the victim was stabbed. But now, you say you saw the victim bleeding?
Well, I say that what I saw is what I saw.
What did you see?
Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed, but I saw the girl pull the sword out of her, plain as day.
Pulling the sword out?
Well, it wasn't exactly pulling. It was more like it came out.
Witness, you will add this testimony to your statement.
That was the other way around. You will add this statement to your testimony. Help. Today will be a short stream. Let me tell you all how I spent my day. I woke up at 5:45 after 6 hours of sleep, which is unusual for me. Got up, ate breakfast, sat there, contemplated my life while I waited for my food to digest. I went back to sleep for 2 hours. I woke up, I watched some YouTube videos, tried to feel good about my life. I had lunch. I started to feel better about my life. I let my food digest. I tried to take a nap again. It didn't work. I played piano for a while. It didn't go well. I started questioning everything about my life. I found out one of my coworkers that luckily I did not have exposure to directly, but one of my coworkers has COVID. I started panicking about my life and having less than savory thoughts. And then I read that fic and cried for like a half hour over Apollo Justice. And then I talked to Shwindu for a while. I had dinner and then I came on stream. That's been my day. So I'm a little off. I'm a little off my game. Okay. It's been a hard week. I've not cried at all this week for some strange reason. Well, that's a lie. I cried a little bit on the 10th. But that's very unusual for me for this week to not cry. And I wasn't even when I cried today, it was not like sobbing. It was just like tears rolling down my cheeks in mostly silence, and then occasionally going, oh. And I'm not kidding. Because I'm like about to stop crying, and then I'd think about how much I related to something in that fic, and then start crying again. Oh, was that important? An emotional roller coaster indeed, my dear friend.
More important than you can imagine.
Saw the instant which the blade was plunged into the hilt. Huh? That can't be right, right? The blood's not... Okay, that's wrong, but okay.
Smoothly, you say. You're saying you saw the sword smoothly slide out.
This is... phrasing, please.
That's right! The whole thing happened right next to this gold statue of Mystic Ami. Mystic Elise was on the ground, and Iris was stooped over her. The sword was buried up to the hilt. When Iris stood up, the sword in her hand just slid out of Mystic Elise's body. It slid out from that gaping wound. Goes without saying that if the sword was removed, there would be bleeding.
Nothing out of place here.
Is that really the case? I can't help but feel that something about this testimony is very out of place. That something which couldn't have possibly happened appears to have happened.
Okay, so she said that already. That's when you fainted, okay.
Now on to what the killer did next. You saw none of it, correct?
Well, I was unconscious. How long were you out for?
I don't know. 10, maybe 20 minutes. A young man with a very prickly looking head woke me up. By stepping on me, actually. I'm not sure I like that method of resuscitation. Well, I wasn't asking for mouth-to-mouth or anything of the sort. But I would have welcomed a more gentle awakening right about then, let me tell you. I shall have words with the offender personally. Right, if you ever give mouth-to-mouth to anyone besides me, I will kill you myself. I shall have words with the offender personally. What did you see upon awakening? By Mystic Ami, you are referring to the golden statue, correct? Just stabbing someone with the Shichishito, a sacred treasure, is terrible enough. But to then make Mystic Ami hold the blade... Truly a heinous, despicable crime. It is easy to despise something. Anyone can do it. However, there is something that cannot be done so easily.
Whatever it is, I'm sure it's doubly hard for you. She just... Oh my god, she's slandering this man. Anyway, what is the problem?
Exactly why would the killer set up this gruesome scene? Can anyone explain the reasoning behind that? No, I don't think I can.
There isn't always a logical reasoning behind why someone acts. Put a pin in this. Her saying this, put a pin in this. Put a fucking pin in this. I am realizing something. Put a pin in that.
That's true, so true. In early spring, for example, I often find myself... There isn't always. That phrase might come in handy someday. There are too many unnatural elements in this case. Why was it necessary to use the Shichishito from the Ami statue as a weapon? Why was the weapon ultimately placed back in the hand of the statue? If I can expose the flaws in this testimony, perhaps then I will be able to find the truth, or begin to find the truth. Fuck. God fucking damn it.
Okay, I'm gonna go with... There's a few things wrong here. There's no way this came out smoothly, first of all. And second of all, it only has blood up to a certain point, not to the hilt.
Sister Bikini, you are a reliable witness. At least, I'd like to think so. But there are too many contradictions here. Oh, what do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a liar. Oh, I'm certainly not calling you a truther. But you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you.
What contradictions are you talking about?
In the scene that the witness claims to have seen, the weapon was thrust up to its hilt in the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are complete impossibilities.
What do you mean? Please explain Explain yourself!
To start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? No matter how I look at the defendant, she doesn't appear strong enough for that.
Doesn't appear? What meaningless dribble! I too may appear to be weak and frail, but I can crush men under my heel and make them weep, so I should I so choose. English is hard!
The objection stands. I wept a little back there, I must admit. That isn't the only issue here. If this sword was truly stabbed into the body up to the hilt, well, just look at all the branches on it. It certainly wouldn't come out smoothly. We also have the problem of the amount of bleeding. It's true that when a blade is left in a body, it acts as a plug of sorts. However, when the weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. The wound would be too large for the blade to completely stop the bleeding.
If English is hard, Partial Bullet, have you heard of colonization? Hey, Partial Bullet, have you ever looked at a map of the most spoken languages in the world and then read up histories on the countries where those languages originated? I'm not mad. I'm just... I love talking about this kind of thing. It's a colonizer's language, that's why. Why does Indonesia require English and Mandarin in some schools? Because those are the two places that have colonized, and Dutch too. Those are the places that have tried to colonize Indonesia. Why do Filipinos not just use Filipino or Tagalog? They use Spanish and English as well. It's because of colonizers. Right? But English is hard. And I'll die on that hill. Or my degree is worth nothing. That's nothing more than conjecture. In reality, the victim was stabbed with the shichishito. Even a weapon of this nature may still sometimes slide out smoothly and may still sometimes stop the blood loss.
Not finished. There is still one more conclusive contradiction. You still got more. This one is simple. If this sword really was thrust in all the way to the hilt,
why are we saying it like this? You don't have to use the word thrust.
Why is there only blood on the tip of it?
Ah!
If this witness is telling the truth, then there should be blood along the entire length of the sword.
And that's what I was saying.
No!
Order! Bravo! Miles Edgeworth! Raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could maybe manage one, if that.
Well, what does this all mean? You were proving contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but having come this far, there can only be one answer.
Most online matches, the players will speak English so that all the players can understand each other. But why is it English, right? It could have well been any other language that ended up becoming the colonizer language, but it's because the UK and the US had so much. It's primarily because the UK had so much power. If they don't say thrust, they'll just say penetration because the localizers love to do that. Like, it's so, and I like, you're not wrong. Is what you're totally wrong. It became the world's global language, but it is because of colonization. 100%. 100%. That's why there are so many languages that are dying out, right? And even languages that are more minor, and I'm using air quotes for this, like Japanese, right, has only started to become a more major language in the last like 10, 20 years, right? But it's still a colonizer language because Ainu and Ryukyuan dialects, and like languages, there are several of them in Okinawa and the islands like in that area that have been almost completely wiped out because of the standard Japanese, right? And then Mandarin itself is also wiping out a lot of Asian languages in general, but also like broadcasts on TV as far as dramas go have to be dubbed in Mandarin for, I don't know if it's every channel, but a lot of channels. So even if the actors don't speak like standard Mandarin dialect, they get dubbed over with the standard Mandarin actor. Isn't that crazy? Language colonization is so interesting. And that is... the weapon used to kill the victim was not the Shichishito. What? A foolishly foolish idea born from a foolish mind of a foolhardy foolish fool. Let's examine this again. What was it that made us think that this sword was the murder weapon? Well... it's because Mistakami was holding it. Exactly. However, if you reflect on this, that is the only basis we have to assume such a thing. The impression left by the scene was just too strong. That is what influenced us. It influenced us to believe that the Shichishito was the murder weapon. Order! 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 What? So maybe this Shichishito was not the murder weapon. Even if that is the case, it changes nothing, Miles Edgeworth. The sister here saw everything. She saw the defendant stab the victim with a sword-like object. But she just said she didn't actually. That's true. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth? No, she said that she didn't, though. If that is so, I would like the prosecution to answer the obvious question it raises. The obvious question? Yes. Namely, where did the real murder weapon disappear to? It goes without saying that the police searched the main hall and the surrounding area. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us as to if a sword-like object was found. That's... Answer the question, Ms. Von Karma. No evidence of that kind was found. Another mystery to throw onto the pile. A trial without a murder weapon is a tricky beast. Excuse me, can I say something? I just remembered something, actually. What is it, sister? I was just thinking, it's possible that just maybe what actually happened was, it was just over there. What exactly are you going on about there? The word murder weapon, I mean. Maybe. I think I might know where the sword was disposed of. You what? Well then. I think we need to hear testimony from you one more time, sister. Impossible. What else? What else could this old woman have seen? She's not that old. She's 48. That's nothing. Bro, that's so nothing. But a 26-year-old would say that shit. Not really. I didn't think that when I was that age. I didn't think 48 was old. I was like middle-aged. Yeah, I don't want to, like, my intent is not to fight about the language thing. I just think it's so fascinating and I could go on about it for forever. But the fact that, like, we are speaking in English right now and I assume that everyone... Bikini. I made it the fuck up. It's interesting that the fact that I am speaking in English right now and therefore assume that everyone who comes in speaks English, right? Like, because... I would assume that you are because you're watching me speak in English, right? But if it were up to me, I would not use English as my first language all the time. It's not the language I enjoy speaking the most. Not even close. Anyway. I saw the murder at around 11 p.m. And after asking that it be reported, I went out to the main gate. And there, I saw tracks. Tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used. It takes 15 minutes to walk to Dusky Bridge, but less than 5 using one of those. Find out the depth of language, too. Yeah. Maybe they threw the weapon into the Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out? Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile after all. Witness, please tell us everything you know right away next time. I'm not going to because it's an Ace Attorney stream. It's an Ace Attorney stream, but like, it's also my stream. We go on tangents all the time. Oh, I just totally skipped her line. Well, I'm not in the best of shape with my back and my age, you know. Good thing I have the back stream. Quite. There were indeed snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here is a photograph. Look at this photograph. A snowmobile, eh? Well, I see. Well, it certainly is an interesting theory. Okay. The tracks begin in front of Hazakura Temple and run all the way to Dusky Bridge. Interesting. That solves your pesky little problem, yes? The Eagle River's current is quite swift, meaning that it doesn't freeze over in winter, making it the perfect place to dispose of the murder weapon.
Did she really go to the river to dispose of the murder weapon?
Mr. Edgeworth, your cross-examination, please. Oh, yeah. Like, not to keep going on about it, but this is my stream, so I'm going to. Like, I could play this game in another language besides English, but I don't. Did this? Hold on. I just want to see something really fast. Oh, I can only do it at the main. Okay, hold on. I wonder if this version has a Spanish localization. I feel like no, right? I know there's a fan Spanish localization, right? But I could have played this in Spanish, and I could play it in Japanese, but I don't, right? Isn't that, like, so interesting? Like, that we default to English now because the colonization is, like, I am as a white American, an active participant in that, whether I want to be or not. Anyway. Something to think about.
You were sure about the time?
Yes, I was worried about it after all. Why was that? Because I have a strong sense of responsibility, especially at this time of year. The acolyte was being doused in freezing water at the time. I couldn't very well take it easy in the bath all night now, could I? So at 11, I decided to leave Hazakura Temple.
Her estimation of the time seems reliable, at least.
Please continue, sister. It has something to do with a localization contract. There's some shit that went down. I remember reading about it, and I don't remember. Excuse me, I don't remember specifics anymore. But that's why. Yeah, someday I'll play a game in Japanese on here for sure. I just can't decide which one.
You asked Phoenix Wright to report the crime, correct?
Right. The one who trampled me.
It seems she is the type to hold a grudge.
Bet she's a Virgo. There isn't a phone in the main hall, so I sent him to the bridge. Phoenix Wright. He didn't even have his cell phone on him.
He had forgotten it at home, apparently.
What a naive boy, as always. Not only do I always carry my phone, but I always have my whip in hand, too. Anyway, I was really scared, and it was taking him a while to get back. So I thought I'd go out by the main gate for a spell.
As I recall, there was a snowmobile outside the main gate when I visited.
That's it! That's the only one we have. It'll run no matter how much snow falls.
Now you're certain the snowmobile was there at the main gate when you arrived?
Hey, people who pay too much attention to the Astro stuff? I mean, it's funny. I don't actually believe it, but I do love being like, It's my Virgo Libra cusp. Because it's funny. Like, what are you gonna do? Yep, of course. It was parked in front of the gate. So, she had already gone, discarded the murder weapon, and returned by that time.
I'm not sure if this is really relevant. What should I do?
Press further. Always.
I need answers to every possible doubt. The snowmobile in question, was it still warm at that time?
Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean, eh? What do you mean, Miles Edgeworth?
I'm playing to a slow crowd here. It goes without saying that using a snowmobile will heat its engine. If it was still warm, then it means it was recently used.
Ah, I see. I never thought of that.
That's right. I overlooked that too.
Of course you did.
Then answer the question, please, witness.
I don't often go around touching hot engines. However, now that you mention it, there wasn't any snow on it.
Snow?
Yes, for some reason, only the snowmobile wasn't covered in snow.
There wasn't any snow on it. Curses!
It seems highly likely that the killer did use the snowmobile then, eh? How long does it take to get to Dusky Bridge by snowmobile? 5分ぐらい.
In that case, why didn't you use it yourself? You could have spared yourself some walking.
Ah, there is a reason for that. Have we got a moment for me to explain?
I think that's why the question was asked in the first place.
It was about a month ago. I was driving my beloved little snowmobile, happy as can be. Yeah, I'd fetched some water and was heading back when I crashed into a tree. The tree and my back both went crunch, just like that. Oh, that sound effect was awful, dude. That's how my back sounds. Crunch. No, no more. No more. I feel it in my teeth. Don't do it again. I haven't been able to find the courage to write anything since then. Are we done? Okay. Anyway, the killer must have used it.
Refresh our memory. How long were you knocked out for?
Like I said, somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes. It's possible to get to the bridge and back, but in 10 minutes using the snowmobile.
I have to concede that that is more than enough time.
Is that all you wish to concede, Miles Edgeworth? I don't know how, but my brain registered snowmobile as blow snowmobile. Edgeworth picked it up from Maya. If I accidentally say it, it's also because I'm constantly thinking about how Maya just calls it random, like, versions, like blow snowmobile. Yeah, like, it's very possible I've accidentally said that while reading.
While it would have been possible time-wise, one element remains out of place here.
Oh, and what would this mystery element be?
The killer's reasoning, Your Honor. Why did the killer do all of this? Why go to the Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon when there are other methods?
Too many unanswered questions. Your response, Miss Von Karma? Turning to me for help over the slightest thing. Why don't you think for yourself once in a while? Your Honor. I love that she just like rips into him and then is like, okay, I will call you by your title. Okay, I'll give you an ounce of respect, I suppose. Top tier Maya lines for real. What?
She's as over the top as always.
Anyway, whatever the reason, the fact remains that the defendant could have done this. The murder weapon was disposed of in the river. Another point to me, Miles Edgeworth.
Another mystery to feed the fire. Was there any reason to go and throw away the murder weapon? Luckily, there is surely a problem with this testimony. Now all I have to do is start poking holes in this flawed account. I'm thinking.
Okay. So we got... Okay. So there are hold on, let me look at it again. There are tracks on top of the footprints. Okay. What was the weather again? Till 10:50. And what time did she witness the crime? What time did you say? Oh, at 11. Okay. Okay. I guess that does technically track. No pun intended. No. I don't think this is right. Right? Because there's only one set of tracks. Okay. Unless she drove exactly over the same path again, she only went from the bridge to the temple. Because there's no other set of footprints after that.
I admit this photograph proves something. It proves that the snowmobile was used on the night of the murder.
You finally accepted the inevitable, it seems, Miles Edgeworth.
However, if what the witness says is true, then why is there only one set of tracks?
What do you mean?
Iris left Hazakura Temple, threw the weapon into the river, and then returned. If this was the case, then naturally there should be two sets of tracks in the snow. Those from heading out to the bridge, and those from coming back.
Ah, you're right! You're forgetting one thing, Miles Edgeworth. On the night of the murder, it was snowing. The tracks leading to the bridge were erased by the snowfall. This removes your precious contradiction now, doesn't it?
I see. While she was at the river, the snow stopped, leaving just the return tracks in the snow. But then her tracks wouldn't still be there. Bikinis wouldn't be, right? That's who those are, right? Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
What do you have to say now, Miles Edgeworth?
Is there a flaw in her theory?
Yes, there is.
This idea that the snowfall covered one set of tracks?
There is a contradiction.
The tracks to the river were covered by the snow. What a nice theory. However, Ms. Von Karma, that is impossible.
Would you care to explain why there is a rude index finger currently pointed in my general direction?
No need. The evidence will do all of the talking for me.
On the night of the murder, the killer went to and returned from Dusky Bridge in order to dispose of the murder weapon. The outgoing tracks were erased by snow, or so claims Ms. Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth, present your evidence to the contrary, eh? Okay. I think it's the weather data here, right? Outgoing tracks were not covered by the snow. Because the snow, I think, had stopped by then. Because if it happened... Okay. Bikini witnessed her shit at 11. Phoenix saw it after that. Right? Or even if it was actually at 11 p.m. that Phoenix came over. Like, I don't think it would have worked. Do you hear what I'm saying, though, about his tease? He has very European tease because the person who voice acts him is also a French speaker. And maybe, I don't know if he's, like, bilingual, like, speaks them both about the same frequency, or he learned Quebec French, Quebecois, French first, or, like, I don't know. But, it is very interesting, like, hearing that in Edgeworth's voice and being like, he's a native English speaker, but also had the time in Europe, and he's got that influence in his use of English, and yet also has the Californian English influence. It's so fascinating linguistically. If I knew him in real life, I would be like, okay, tell me, like, I would interview him and then study how he uses language.
Witness, please tell us again what time it was when you witnessed the crime.
Like I said, it was around 11.
Of course. This means that the weapon was thrown away after that time, correct? On that note, please take a look at this data. It is the weather report for Eagle Mountain on the night of the murder.
The weather report?
Snow started to fall at 7 p.m., but it stopped at around 10:50. Therefore, when the sister witnessed the crime at 11 p.m., the snow had already stopped falling. It is impossible for any tracks made after that time to have been covered up.
I love that Phoenix's theme is playing here.
Order, order. Very well then. It looks like Ms. Von Karma's claim has been snowed in.
Blah! It's too soon to be closing this trial due to snow. Miles Edgeworth, how pathetic of you to rely on the weather of all things.
The fuck are you talking about?
Answer me this, then. When is a weather report ever
She's so real for this.
No. You've got it all wrong. This isn't a forecast. This is actual data.
Yeah. Forecast data. All weather reports have some inaccuracies. It may have still been snowing in the vicinity well past 11 p.m.
It's true, we cannot be totally sure, eh? What? How did she pull that off?
Everyone's doubting the weather, that's how.
It had stopped snowing at Hazakura Temple when the murder took place. You need to provide conclusive evidence of this.
Okay. So... Okay. I don't think there's any more in that. There's no snow on her. Like what I said at the beginning, there's no snow on her. I think that's it.
I've come this far. There's no turning back now. Very well. I too cannot allow any doubt to remain concerning this testimony.
You can't back down, can you? Such a perfectionist, Miles Edgeworth.
Pot meat kettle. Very well then, Mr. Edgeworth. Where is your evidence that it had already stopped snowing when the victim was killed? It's this picture of her. There's no snow on her. There would have been snow on her. I got too excited. Ultimately... Sorry, just imagining Edgeworth saying that. Like, stumbling on his line and then being like, sorry, I got too excited about it. Let me try that again. Weather Channel heavily records. I know that they do, but I'm saying, like, she was able to get away with it because everybody doubts weather forecasting stuff. Like, even records and stuff that have already, like, they've existed, people still don't listen to the data of it. Clearly. Otherwise, we may not have a climate crisis. All right.
Ultimately, it all comes down to one point. That being, whether or not it was snowing in that courtyard when the victim was stabbed.
That's right. But proving that is
incredibly easy. If we want to know whether or it was snowing or not, this photo will tell us everything. Of course, I am referring to the photo of the crime scene. As you can see, everything is covered with snow. With just one exception.
And that is...
the victim herself, Miss Elise Donim. Why is there no snow on top of her?
She does, like, it stands out a lot that she has no snow on her, too.
The answer is simple. It had stopped snowing when she was killed. That's why. In other words, if the killer really did go to the Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon, then in this photograph, there should be 2 sets of tracks.
Ah!
Order! Just what are you?
Ah! Just what are you suggesting, Miles Edgeworth?
To be honest, I am not entirely sure myself, but this is simply what all of the facts point to. That night, someone used the snowmobile to leave Hazakura Temple.
She used her fire magic to severely warm the temperature of her body and melt all of the remaining snow on her body. She was a black mage.
From the tracks left, it can be understood that they were heading for Dusky Bridge. At that time, it was still snowing.
Of course it was, because those tracks were erased by the snow.
Then, when this person returned to Hazakura Temple, the snow had stopped. Thus, the return tracks remained.
Can I say something? This all sounds a bit fishy to me.
What does, sister?
There is only one key for the snowmobile.
Furthermore, on the night in question, we know that the defendant had it. The key was found in her room after the murder.
Which can only mean that night, Iris used the snowmobile to go to the inner temple.
But Iris said that she never went there. I should probably press on this point some more when I get the chance.
The snowmobile can't cross the suspension bridge. So she must have left it on the Hazakura side of the bridge and crossed on foot. That sounds right. But what's odd is when I left Iris and returned to Hazakura Temple, I didn't see anything near Dusky Bridge.
You must have just failed to see it, sister.
Maybe. But when I made it back to Hazakura Temple, it was there, by the main gate. The snowmobile, I mean. I know what I saw. It was covered in snow, too.
But that isn't possible! Order in the court! What does all this mean?
I lost his voice there for a second.
So then what was the snowmobile used for? It wasn't taken by the defendant when she went to the inner temple. If it had been, then the witness couldn't possibly have seen it by the gate. Furthermore, it wasn't used by the killer to dispose of the murder weapon. If that was the case, there should be 2 sets of tracks in this photo. All we know is this. After it stopped snowing, someone used the snowmobile to return to Hazakura Temple. I never thought a simple snowmobile could cause so much trouble.
I think we've learned all we can from this witness. Yes, I've nothing more to add. I told you everything that I know.
But then, that still leaves us with the same problem.
If only there was someone, a witness who could testify to having seen the snowmobile. A witness, huh? Was there no one out walking, perhaps, near Dusky Bridge on that night? I don't think that's likely. It was cold enough to freeze your ears off. Only an idiot would go out wandering in that. Unless they had something really important to do.
That's a shame. Hold on. Something is coming to me. An idiot may well have gone wandering out on that subarctic night. Your Honor. Actually, there just might be one individual who may be of help to us.
Really?
You know of someone who might have seen the snowmobile on the night of the murder?
I don't know for sure if he saw it or not, But there are two things about him that do come to mind. Which are, first, that he saw something incredible on the night of the murder.
And the second being...
This individual that I am thinking of went wandering outside on that cold night. In other words, he is our kind of idiot.
Mr. Edgeworth, who is this idiot you're talking about? Oh, it could only be Larry. This guy must be a product of Jean-Luc Deladuc. Huh? Jean-Luc Deladuc, Guide to Obnoxious French Painting.
This is Larry Butts, a disciple of the victim Elise Donan.
Her student? Interesting. And why was he wandering about on the outside on the night of the murder?
That's... I could tell them all about his designs for Iris, but it may cost us his credibility as a witness before I even call him. He is, after all, an artist. He was perhaps searching for something in the snowy scenery that would move him, although I cannot guarantee that this is the reason.
And so, this unfortunate, unreliable-looking man, what exactly was it that he saw?
I intend to extract that from him right here in this courtroom.
Summon this youth as a witness immediately.
I have no choice, do I?
I believe he is in the gallery for this trial. It will not take long to summon him.
Very well.
Larry, you may have escaped me yesterday, but today I'm going to get everything out of you.
The court will now adjourn for a 20-minute break. Ms. Von Karma, please see to preparing the next witness.
Understood, Your Honor.
Good. Well then, court is now in recess. 20 minutes is gonna be like 4 days. Sorry. At least. I don't know if I'm gonna stream I don't know. Thursday is up in the air if I will be streaming or not. Probably, but like, I don't know. It kind of just depends on what everybody else's schedule is in my life. Because I might do something for my birthday. Anyway. Wow, I can't believe we're gonna finish this game soon. I gotta get to work on the next thumbnail. Holy shit, I'm so excited for AA4, guys. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I still haven't heard the title music for the new game. Teehee. But probably stream on Thursday. At the very least, next weekend, Saturday and Sunday should have streams as well. Unless something changes, and if it does, I will post it in the community tab. Whew. Oh, sorry I couldn't read. It was a long day for me. Sometimes days are just bad. Yeah. Anyway, you know the drill. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. Be good to yourself. Be kind. Stay safe. Stay hydrated. Please wear a mask. Please. Please. So that we can all live normal lives. Please. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. And I'll see ya when I see ya. Bye, Anara.